ruins of tranquility. Following the guidance of the voice, Silverback journeyed westward. After 3 hours of walking, he arrived at his destination, a village nestled at the base of a majestic mountain. However, what greeted him was not the serene and picturesque scene he had envisioned. Instead, he found a place that had been ravaged by violence and destruction. The once thriving village now lay in ruins. Houses that had once stood strong and proud were now reduced to skeletal frames, leaning precariously, as if the slightest breeze could topple them over. The walls were riddled with bullet holes, stark reminders of a fierce battle that had taken place. Doors hung loosely from their hinges, creaking eerily in the wind, while windows were shattered, leaving jagged shards of glass scattered across the ground. As Silverback walked through the village, the ground crunched beneath his feet, a mix of broken pottery, splintered wood, and remnants of what once were treasured belongings. The air was thick with the smell of burnt wood and lingering smoke, stinging his nostrils and making it difficult to breathe. The village was eerily silent. The only sounds were the distant calls of birds and the rustling of leaves in the wind. Silverback's heart grew heavy as he took in the desolation around him. This place, once filled with life and laughter, now stood as a haunting testament to the horrors of the gang war. He approached what appeared to be the remnants of a central square, where the community would have gathered for celebrations and meetings. Now, it was littered with debris, and the fountain that had likely once been a source of joy was dry and cracked, with pieces of stone lying scattered around it. Silverback's eyes caught sight of a charred teddy bear, half buried in the rubble. He bent down to pick it up, feeling the weight of the village's lost innocence and the lives that had been uprooted. The teddy bear's once soft fur was singed, and one of its button eyes was missing, adding to the overwhelming sense of sorrow that enveloped him. As he continued to explore, he noticed signs of hurried departures, doors left wide open, personal items abandoned in the streets, and vehicles with their doors ajar, as if their owners had fled in a panic. The more he saw, the more the magnitude of the tragedy became apparent. Silverback's mind raced with questions. Who could have done this? What had the villagers done to deserve such brutality? The voice in his head, usually a source of guidance, was silent, leaving him alone with his thoughts and the oppressive weight of the destruction around him. The further he walked, the more he understood the full extent of the carnage. He found what appeared to be a makeshift barricade, a futile attempt by the villagers to defend themselves. The barricade was splintered and broken, with spent shell casings scattered around it. Bloodstains marked the ground, now dried and darkened, telling the story of a desperate last stand. Silverback's emotions were a tumultuous mix of anger, sorrow, and a burning desire for justice. This village, which once stood as a peaceful haven, had been transformed into a graveyard of shattered dreams and broken lives. The people who had lived here, who had called this place home, were now either dead or displaced, their futures uncertain and their pasts marred by violence. He paused for a moment, closing his eyes and taking a deep breath. The memories of his own past, of the traumas that had shaped him, surged forward, and for a brief moment, he felt a kinship with the villagers. They, too, had faced unimaginable horrors, and their pain resonated deeply within him. Silverback opened his eyes and looked towards the majestic mountain that loomed over the village. It stood as a stark contrast to the devastation below, its peaks reaching towards the heavens, untouched by the chaos that had unfolded at its base. It was a symbol of resilience and strength, a reminder that even in the face of destruction, there was still hope. Determined to uncover the truth behind the massacre and to honor the memory of those who had suffered, Silverback vowed to find the perpetrators and bring them to justice. The voice in his head stirred once more, offering a sense of direction and purpose. "You are not alone in this, Silverback," the voice said. "The answers you seek are within your grasp. Follow the path, and you will find the truth." With renewed resolve, Silverback set out to piece together the fragments of the village's tragic story. Each step he took through the ruins was a step towards uncovering the mystery and fulfilling the promise he had made to himself, to protect the innocent and to stand against those who sowed chaos and suffering. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but Silverback was no stranger to adversity. He had faced countless battles and emerged stronger each time. This, however, was more than just another fight. It was a quest for redemption, for understanding, and for the unity of his fractured self. Awakening to pain. As dawn approached, the voice in Silverback's head spoke gently, "It's time to step aside for Rondu, Silverback. Close your eyes and drift into a dream." Silverback responded with resignation, "I understand. Tell Rondu that I will always be with him." The voice reassured him, "I will. I will pass on your message." Silverback closed his eyes. An hour later, the eyes that opened belonged to Rondu. Confused, Rondu found himself in an unfamiliar place. The voice spoke again, "Do not panic, Rondu. I brought Silverback here to visit the old home of your parents." Rondu looked around in shock at the desolate and ruined village. His heart filled with sorrow, he asked, "Did I once live here?" The voice replied, "Yes. Busi massacred the village and its innocent inhabitants, including your two siblings, Fura and Tatus." Rondu's eyes widened in disbelief and tears welled up. "My siblings, they are dead? Who killed them?" "Busi," the voice responded solemnly. "Busi, the leader of the cunning hyena gang. The deaths of your siblings were gruesome. They were tied up and shot from both the front and the back, ensuring excruciating pain. But your siblings were true warriors. They did not show fear or pain as death approached." Rondu's heart ached unbearably at this revelation. The world around him seemed to close in, and his mind swirled with grief and anger. The weight of this newfound knowledge was almost too much to bear. Standing amidst the ruins, Rondu felt a torrent of emotions surge through him. The village that had once been a haven of peace and family had been reduced to a barren wasteland. The realization that he had lost not only his home but also his beloved siblings to such senseless violence tore at his soul. His thoughts raced back to fleeting memories of Fura and Tatus, glimpses of their laughter, their playful arguments, and their boundless energy. He remembered their dreams and aspirations, now cruelly extinguished. The pain of their loss cut deep, each breath a reminder of the agony they endured. The voice in his head continued, "Fura and Tatus faced their fate with bravery. They did not show fear. They accepted their deaths with courage." Rondu clenched his fists, feeling a mixture of pride in their bravery and sorrow for their suffering. "They didn't deserve this," he whispered, his voice breaking. "They were just children." The voice was soothing yet firm. "Their spirits are at peace now. They want you to find peace too, Rondu. To honor their memory by living on and finding justice." As Rondu stood there, tears streaming down his face, he felt the overwhelming need to do something, anything, to make sense of the chaos. The grief was a storm within him, but within the eye of that storm, there was a clarity, a resolve to seek justice for his siblings and to prevent such horrors from happening again. "Why didn't I remember them sooner?" Rondu asked, his voice filled with regret. "Why couldn't I protect them?" "Your memory was fractured by trauma and pain," the voice explained. "But now, as you begin to heal, the pieces are coming together. You couldn't protect them then, but you can honor them now." Rondu took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He knew that he could not change the past, but he could fight for a better future, a future where such senseless violence would not be tolerated. "I will make Busi pay for what he did," Rondu vowed, his voice steady with determination. "I will ensure that no one else has to suffer the way Fura and Tatus did." The voice was calm. "Vengeance alone will not bring peace. Remember, justice must be balanced with mercy. You must rise above the hatred that consumed Busi." Rondu nodded, understanding the wisdom in the words. "I will do what I must to protect the innocent and honor my siblings' memories. But I will not become like Busi." As the sun began to rise, casting a golden hue over the devastated village, Rondu felt a renewed sense of purpose. The pain in his heart would not fade easily, but it would drive him to be stronger, to fight harder, and to ensure that the sacrifice of Fura and Tatus was not in vain. He stood tall amidst the ruins, the dawn light illuminating his path forward. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but Rondu was ready. He would carry the memories of his siblings with him, their courage and strength guiding him as he faced whatever lay ahead. For now, Rondu would embrace his dual identities, knowing that the strength and spirit of Silverback would always be a part of him. Together, they would forge a new destiny, one where justice and honor prevailed. The village, though scarred and broken, was a symbol of his past and a testament to his resilience. As he walked away from the ruins, Rondu felt a deep connection to his roots and an unyielding resolve to rebuild and protect the world that his siblings had once dreamed of. A mother's memory. Rondu asked, his voice barely above a whisper, "And what about my mother?" The voice responded gently, "Your mother passed away nearly 2 years ago." Rondu closed his eyes, tears streaming down his face as the news settled in his heart. Amidst the sorrow, he began to see a faint image in his mind, a shadowy figure of a woman. She was not entirely clear, but her presence was unmistakable. This ethereal vision of his mother, Durika, filled him with a sense of warmth and comfort. In his mind's eye, he saw her as a nurturing presence, always there to embrace him with a gentle touch. Though the details of her face were blurred, the feeling of her love was vivid and tangible. It was as if she were a guardian angel, watching over him, her essence forever intertwined with his soul. Rondu remembered the way she used to hold him close, her arms a sanctuary from the world's chaos. He couldn't see her features clearly, but he didn't need to. The love she radiated was enough to illuminate his heart. Each time he thought of her, he felt a soothing warmth spread through him, a reminder of her unwavering affection. Though her image remained indistinct, the emotions tied to her were sharp and clear. Her presence in his life had been a beacon of light, guiding him through the darkest of times. The way she cared for him, the sacrifices she made, and the strength she showed had left an indelible mark on his spirit. In moments of fear or uncertainty, Rondu would often find himself seeking comfort in this ghostly vision of his mother. She was a source of strength and resilience, a symbol of the love and kindness that had shaped him. Her memory was a balm for his wounds, providing solace and courage when he needed it most. As he stood there, amidst the ruins of the village that had once been their home, Rondu felt her presence more acutely than ever. It was as if she were standing right beside him, her arms wrapped around him in a protective embrace. The warmth of her love enveloped him, filling the emptiness left by her absence. In his heart, Rondu knew that his mother had always been with him, even in death. Her spirit lived on within him, guiding his actions and inspiring his dreams. The faint, gentle image of her was a constant reminder of the love that had shaped him into the person he was today. The master's last breath. "Did I have a master named Tammy?" Rondu asked, his voice filled with curiosity and a hint of hope. "Yes," the voice replied. "He taught you 4 ultimate techniques: Fire Dragon Fist, Ice Storm Sword, Shadow Cloud Kick, and Silver Moonlight." "Where does he live?" Rondu continued. "He resides on Mount Evi, the mountain before you," the voice answered. Rondu felt an uneasy sensation creep over him. "We must ascend to Mount Evi to see him," he declared, urgency in his voice. He sprinted up the mountain at an incredible speed. Halfway up, he encountered a familiar silhouette descending the mountain like a storm. This person had their face covered, clearly trying to conceal their identity. As Rondu and the mysterious figure crossed paths, Rondu sensed that something terrible had occurred. Upon reaching the summit, Rondu witnessed a scene of utter devastation. It was evident that a fierce battle had recently taken place. As he ventured deeper, he discovered a middle-aged man drenched in blood. Rondu instinctively knew this was his master, Tammy. He rushed to his side, lifting him gently. "Rondu, you've returned," Tammy whispered weakly. "I heard about your family. I couldn't get there in time to help you and your siblings. I am truly sorry." Tears welled up in Rondu's eyes. "It's all right, Master. It's been over a year now. Please don't burden yourself with guilt." Tammy grasped Rondu's hand tightly and whispered, "Remember what I taught you. The Flower Storm Fist has incredible potential. You must perfect it, unlike me." With those words, Tammy's mouth filled with blood. "Who did this to you?" Rondu asked, his voice trembling with worry. Barely able to speak, Tammy tried to say, "Sue, Sue," before succumbing to his injuries. Rondu's heart shattered as he held his beloved master in his arms. Tears streamed down his face as he mourned the loss. It seemed that everyone dear to him was being taken away, one by one. The bond Rondu shared with his master was profound. Tammy had been more than just a teacher. He was a guiding light in Rondu's life, a father figure who had imparted wisdom, strength, and the values of honor and resilience. Tammy's teachings had not only shaped Rondu's martial prowess, but had also influenced his character and outlook on life. The thought of losing such a significant figure filled Rondu with an unbearable sorrow. As Rondu cradled his master's lifeless body, memories of their time together flooded his mind. He remembered the rigorous training sessions, the gentle corrections, the stories Tammy shared about the martial arts legends, and the moments of quiet reflection under the starlit sky. Each memory was a testament to the deep respect and affection he held for Tammy. The pain of this loss was almost too much to bear. Rondu had already endured the deaths of his siblings and his mother, and now his master lay dead in his arms. It felt as though fate was determined to strip him of everyone he loved. The sense of isolation and grief threatened to overwhelm him, but amidst the tears and heartache, a steely resolve began to form. He would honor his master's final wishes. He would perfect the Flower Storm Fist and ensure that Tammy's legacy lived on through him. The path ahead would be fraught with challenges and dangers, but Rondu knew that he had to persevere. His master's teachings would guide him, and the memories of those he had lost would fuel his determination. Rondu stayed by Tammy's side for what felt like an eternity, his tears mingling with the blood-soaked ground. He vowed to avenge his master and uncover the truth behind the mysterious assailant. As he stood up, a sense of purpose filled him. He was no longer just Rondu or Silverback. He was the embodiment of the teachings and sacrifices of those who had come before him. With a heavy heart but unwavering resolve, Rondu prepared to continue his journey. He would face whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge and strength imparted by his master. Tammy's spirit would live on within him, a guiding force as he navigated the treacherous path of the martial world. 1 hour ago. An hour before Rondu's arrival, Tammy was practicing martial arts when he heard footsteps ascending the mountain. Assuming it was Rondu, he felt a surge of joy. It had been a long time since Rondu had visited. But Tammy's joy turned into astonishment when he saw a familiar figure approaching. It was not Rondu, but Sunny, his senior brother. As Sunny approached, he greeted, "It's been over 10 years since we last met. How have you been, junior brother?" Tammy replied cautiously, "Your visit surely signifies a matter of great importance." Sunny continued, "I remember more than 10 years ago, our game of Go ended without a victor. Today, I intend to finish that game with you." Realizing that Sunny's visit could mean danger, Tammy remained composed and agreed to the game of Go. Both men knew that this was more than just a game. It was a prelude to a confrontation, a silent battle of wits and strategy. They sat across from each other, the Go board between them. The black and white stones gleamed under the dim light. Tammy made the first move, placing a black stone on the board. Sunny followed with a white stone. Each move was deliberate, calculated, and intense. The early stages of the game were filled with calm but intense maneuvers. Each stone placed represented a strategic position, a potential threat, and a possible defense. The board gradually filled with black and white patterns, each indicating the balance of power between the two players. Sunny made a bold move, placing a white stone in an aggressive position. Tammy countered with a calm but firm placement of a black stone, effectively blocking Sunny's advance. The tension in the air was palpable. Both players were aware that each move carried significant weight. "Your strategies have improved, junior brother," Sunny remarked, his voice devoid of emotion. "And so have yours, senior brother," Tammy responded, his focus unwavering. As the game progressed, their moves became more intricate. Sunny launched a series of attacks, trying to encircle Tammy's black stones. Tammy defended skillfully, anticipating Sunny's tactics. The board became a battlefield, each stone a warrior fighting for dominance. Midway through the game, the intensity heightened. Tammy saw an opportunity and executed a daring sequence of moves, capturing several of Suni's stones. Suni, unperturbed, quickly adapted and launched a counterattack. The game oscillated between offense and defense, each brother displaying remarkable skill and strategic depth. Their eyes met occasionally, each glance conveying unspoken words and hidden intentions. The Go board mirrored their internal struggle, a reflection of their conflicting wills. Both were aware that this game symbolized their impending confrontation, a silent acknowledgement of the inevitable clash. As the game neared its conclusion, the balance of power shifted constantly. Suni placed a white stone that threatened to turn the tide in his favor. Tammy responded with a brilliant move, securing a vital position and neutralizing Suni's advantage. The tension escalated, every move fraught with potential victory or defeat. Finally, the board was nearly full, the game reaching its climax. Tammy and Suni both saw the inevitable outcome. The game was a stalemate, a perfect representation of their evenly matched skills. Suni looked at the board and then at Tammy, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "It seems we are still evenly matched, junior brother." Tammy nodded, a serene expression on his face. "Indeed, senior brother. It appears our battle is yet to be resolved." Suni's eyes narrowed slightly. "This game has always been more than just a game, hasn't it?" Tammy met his gaze steadily. "Yes, it has." With the game concluded, both men stood up, the silent understanding between them clear. The confrontation they had postponed was now imminent. The game of Go had been a prelude, a dance of strategy and intellect, but the real battle was about to begin. In the quiet moments that followed, Tammy felt a deep respect for his senior brother. Despite the impending conflict, their bond as martial artists and brothers remained unbroken. The game of Go had been a testament to their shared history, a silent dialogue between two warriors destined to clash. As they prepared for the inevitable battle, Tammy reflected on the significance of their encounter. The board was a battleground, each stone a symbol of their skill, strategy, and unspoken emotions. The silent encounter had ended, but the real confrontation was just beginning. The clash of shadows and fire. Tammy paused and looked at Suni, a question forming in his mind. "May I ask you something, senior brother?" Suni nodded. "Go ahead." Tammy continued, "When you left our master's place, you said you would master the Iron Dragon Fist and return to seek him out. What did you mean by seek him out? Did you intend to return and kill our master?" Suni smiled. "No matter how ruthless I may be, I could never kill the man who enlightened me and opened the path of martial arts for me. When I said I would return, I meant to show him that I have succeeded in building my own empire. I am just a few steps away from conquering the entire gang world." Tammy asked, "Then why have you come to find me today?" Suni's smile turned enigmatic. "You know too much about me. Those who know too much about me must be eliminated. The name Suni no longer exists in this world. The game is over, and now I must kill you. Let's see how much you've improved over these 10 years. Without warning, Suni launched into his shadow cloud kick, raising his leg high and bringing it down towards Tammy's head. Tammy quickly retreated, narrowly avoiding the strike. Suni's kick shattered the Go board, sending black and white stones flying into the air like tiny stars, creating a shimmering silver rain in the dawn light. The stones clinked against each other like wind chimes, falling to the ground and forming a chaotic, colorful pattern. Following up immediately, Suni unleashed a powerful fire dragon fist aimed at Tammy. Tammy raised his arms to block, but the force of Suni's punch was immense, pushing him back over 2 meters. Tammy steadied himself, feeling the burning energy of Suni's attack reverberate through his body. Tammy responded with a fire dragon fist of his own, his fist glowing with fiery intensity. He charged forward, aiming for Suni's chest. Suni deftly sidestepped, countering with a quick succession of shadow cloud kicks. The speed and precision of his attacks were astonishing, but Tammy matched him move for move, their legs blurring as they exchanged kicks. The clash of their techniques was a spectacle to behold. Each fire dragon fist they exchanged sent shockwaves through the air, creating ripples of heat that distorted the morning light. Their shadow cloud kicks were a dance of shadows and light, their movements so fast they seemed to defy gravity. Sunni's Iron Dragon Fist struck like a hammer, but Tammy met it with his own Fire Dragon Fist, the impact creating a thunderous boom that echoed through the mountains. They leaped and spun, their kicks colliding mid-air with such force that sparks flew from their feet. The ground beneath them cracked and trembled under the weight of their powerful blows. Neither warrior gave an inch. Sunni's attacks were relentless, his fists and legs moving with the precision of a master. Tammy, however, was undeterred, his own techniques honed to perfection over years of rigorous training. They fought with an intensity that only true martial artists could understand, each seeking to test their limits and prove their superiority. Sunni aimed another shadow cloud kick at Tammy's head, but Tammy ducked and countered with a low sweep. Sunni jumped to avoid it, then came down with a crushing Fire Dragon Fist. Tammy rolled to the side, the ground where he had stood exploding in a shower of dirt and rocks. As they continued to trade blows, it became clear that their skills were evenly matched. Tammy's Fire Dragon Fist met Sunni's with equal force, their fists colliding in a blaze of fiery energy. Their shadow cloud kicks were a whirlwind of motion, each trying to find an opening in the other's defense. The battle raged on, neither able to gain a decisive advantage. They moved with the grace and speed of tigers, their movements fluid and deadly. Sunni's Iron Dragon Fist clashed with Tammy's Fire Dragon Fist in a final, spectacular collision, the resulting shockwave knocking both fighters back. The Iron Dragon Fist unleashed. The intensity of the battle between Sunni and Tammy had reached a boiling point. With every move, each martial artist tested the other's limits. But as the fight dragged on, Sunni decided it was time to reveal his trump card. "Watch closely, Tammy," Sunni said, his voice low and menacing. "I have mastered the Iron Dragon Fist." With those words, Sunni began to channel his internal power into his hands. His fists glowed with a fiery aura, the air around him becoming unbearably hot. He launched a punch at Tammy, the force of which made the very atmosphere seem to constrict. Tammy barely managed to evade the blow, but even so, the sheer force of it left him feeling dizzy. Without wasting a moment, he counterattacked with two powerful Fire Dragon Fists. As his fists neared Sunni, it felt as though they were striking an impenetrable steel wall. The impact of their internal power clashing sent Tammy stumbling backwards, coughing up blood. Sunni smiled confidently. "For over 10 years, I have been perfecting the Iron Dragon Fist. I have succeeded beyond our master's expectations. My body has become as tough as iron when I channel my energy. I can withstand any attack and any weapon. Now, it's my turn to attack you." Sunni charged forward, launching a barrage of Iron Dragon Fists. Tammy found himself overwhelmed, barely able to keep up with the relentless onslaught. Each punch carried the weight and force of an iron hammer, and despite his best efforts to block or dodge, Tammy was repeatedly struck. The power of Sunni's punches was unparalleled, and each hit sent shockwaves through Tammy's body. Feeling the pressure and the strength of Sunni's attacks, Tammy tried to find an opening, but Sunni's iron-like defense was impenetrable. Every punch that Tammy managed to block still sent reverberations through his arms, making them numb. The continuous impact began to take its toll on him, and his movements became slower and more labored. In a desperate attempt to turn the tide, Tammy gathered all his remaining energy and launched a final Fire Dragon Fist at Sunni. But Sunni, anticipating the move, met it head-on with his own Iron Dragon Fist. The collision of their powers was cataclysmic, sending a shockwave that shattered the ground around them. Tammy was thrown back, landing hard on the ground. He struggled to get up, but his body was weakened, and his vision blurred. Sunni approached slowly, the aura of invincibility surrounding him. "Your Fire Dragon Fist is no match for my Iron Dragon Fist, Tammy. Our master would be proud of my transformation, but it's time for you to accept defeat." With those words, Sunni unleashed another flurry of Iron Dragon Fists. Tammy, weakened and unable to mount an effective defense, took the brunt of the attacks. Each blow felt like it was breaking him apart from the inside out. His legs gave way, and he fell to his knees, blood dripping from his mouth. Sunni stood over him, victorious. "You fought well, Tammy, but this is the end." Tammy, barely conscious, looked up at Sunni. "You may have won this battle, Sunni, but the true essence of martial arts is not just about power and dominance. It's about balance, honor, and respect." Sunni sneered. "Those are the words of the weak. The strong survive and rule. That is the only truth in this world." With one final punch, Sunni sent Tammy crashing to the ground, unconscious. The battle was over, and Sunni had proven his superiority with the devastating power of the Iron Dragon Fist. As he looked down at his fallen opponent, a fleeting shadow of regret passed through his eyes, but it was quickly replaced by the cold determination of a warrior who had embraced his path. Sunni turned and walked away, leaving Tammy to recover or perish on his own. The legacy of the Fire Dragon Fist had been overshadowed by the iron might of Sunni's new technique. The mountain stood silent witness to the clash of two titans, the echoes of their battle reverberating through the ages.